Grey blending is trending. Oh, that rhymes. But how do you blend grey for a soft grower and natural looking results using the iconic Wella Color Touch? Let me tell you how. Hello and welcome to the World of Craig. Yes, that's me. I'm Craig and this is my channel where we get into all things hair and sometimes a little bit of beauty. Grey blending. Yes, there is an entire playlist here on my channel that is all about grey hair and blending away the grey using demi permanent hair colour. That's basically what this video is all about, but we're going to talk about the iconic brand, which is Wella's Color Touch. Just a couple of things. I mean, I made those grey blending videos using Shady Q Gloss. I'm giving you an alternative here if you're a hair professional, or maybe you're someone that colours their hair at home and wants to understand the science of it and exactly how it works, and I may give you a few alternatives for you home colour users later on in the video. Shuffles in chair. So there are just a couple of things to mention. Number one, grey, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the video. Number one, grey hair is a real personal choice. You might love your grey, you might not like your grey, but either way, it's a very personal choice. The other reason that I wanted to make this particular video is that I've had a lot of new business recently, new clients. Hello, if you're one of those people who have reached out to me. Some of them have been to see me in my studio space, who want grey blending but couldn't find any way to get it done. So, you know, if you're a hair professional, this is really a service that you should offer, and my channel is always going to be education first, so that's why this video is being made. But everybody can watch it, of course. Everyone is free to watch any of the content here on my channel. It's quite chilly here in London. It's a beautiful autumn day, but it is a bit chilly, hence the long sleeves. And then secondly, before we get into the video, you know, just to mention that every single head of hair is different. So you're gonna get different results. And this is about grey blending, which is a more translucent, you know, more natural, more see-through kind of result. We're not talking about covering grey hair. There are videos on here that are all about that. But you know, we have to go with all the different techniques for all the different people and all the different hair types, but results will vary. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, you haven't watched it yet, you know exactly what to do. And I think that is enough of an intro. Let's get into it. So what is Color Touch? Well, Color Touch is a demi-permanent hair colour. That means that the molecules of the colour have been altered slightly so it doesn't travel too far into the hair. There are videos that go deep into this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time because I don't want this video to be too long or to be accused of waffling. I have used Color Touch since the very beginning. I actually was one of the first people to use it back in like 1988, I think, when it first came out. It is a real powerhouse in the Wella portfolio of colour. Wella is the #1 producer of professional hair colour in the world. Quite major. Of course, I do some work with Clairol, who are owned by Wella. This video is not sponsored, before anybody accuses me. I always let anybody know if anything is sponsored, or, you know, and anyone I have any attachment to in any way as an ambassador, it's all out there for everyone to see. So Color Touch deposits colour on the surface of the hair, and it also deposits a little bit of colour in the hair, which is why it's so fantastic for grey blending. It comes in lots of shades. It's mixed in a 1:2 ratio, so that's 1 part of the colour, which is a cream, insert some video footage here, and then 2 parts of the developer. Now, the developers are very important and they need their own clip. Now, this is very, very important, and if you take just one thing away from this video, it needs to be this. There are 2 developers, very serious, 2 developers for Color Touch. There is the gentle developer, which is 1.9%, which is 6 vol. And then there's the intense developer, which is 4%, which is 13 vol. You must use the 1.9%, the 6 vol for grey blending, okay? It's really important. The other thing to mention is Don't mix demi-permanent hair colours with anything other than what they're meant to be mixed with. I get loads of comments and questions. Oh, well, I'm going to mix that with 20 volume. Well, it's not going to be demi-permanent. You know, these products have a certain amount of energy in them. They have an alkalizing agent in order to deposit colour slightly in the hair and on the surface of the hair. But so they are oxidative, but they are calibrated to be used with those two developers. But for grey blending, I'm going to say it again, you don't want that much energy, so you must use the 1.9. The intense developer is designed to basically give you more coverage. I use it a lot. It's a go-between for me between a permanent colour and grey blending. But if you want something that is going to fade more, give you a softer demarcation line or a highlighted look, as we're going to get into, you must say again, you must use the 1.96 vol developer. Let's talk results, the kind of results that you can expect to see, because I know that everybody would want to see examples. And also how to use it. So first of all, in a nutshell, very simple. If you've never used Color Touch on your client's hair before, then the first application, you would apply it globally from root to tip. You formulate what you want to use, and then you would apply it, you know, as you were going to do anything that was demi-permanent for the first time. And that would be straight through from root to tip. If you are doing a root touch-up, then I would suggest that you, again, remember the 1.9 volume, the 1.9% developer, I would suggest that you apply to the root only for most of the processing, depending on the type of hair, how much grey, what kind of result. Obviously, everyone is different. I can't give you very finite answers to that. But generally, I would say that it would be on the root for 15 minutes. The processing time is 20 minutes. And in my opinion, at room temp, we'll get into that in a second. Apply that to the root for the 15 minutes, then I would pull it through for the last 5. If you feel it needs more refreshing, then you could, of course, take it through the mid-lengths and ends for longer. Be aware, the more you apply Color Touch over the top of Color Touch, the more pigment will be placed into the hair, and the stronger the grow out will be. Very serious in this video. The stronger the grow out will be. Layers of demi-permanent colour build up in and on the hair. Simple. Now results. Let's have a look at some results. This is the gorgeous Tina. I love Tina. I've been doing her hair for a long time. We've used Color Touch on her hair for years. I'll put her formula on screen as well. But I use Color Touch on her hair. She has no permanent colour in her hair at all. She's probably about 25% grey, much greyer at the front, sorry Tina, and I use Color Touch in order to give a highlighted effect. So her formula is lighter than her natural level. She's around a level 7, and I formulate her formula to be around a level 8-ish. And that means that it picks up on the grey hair, but it doesn't shift the base. That's the thing with the 1.9 developer, the 1.9% developer, it won't shift a natural base. So it's going to blend the grey, you know, make the grey hair look like a highlight, but it doesn't touch the natural. So that's to get a highlighted look. And again, I am sharing the formulas with you, but of course they will be different on different sorts of hair, and I can't give you individual formulas. I know people are gonna ask, but I can't, because I can't see your hair. And if you leave a comment saying, I want to be a golden blonde, well, what I think is golden blonde and what you think is golden blonde are gonna be two very different things. Then we have gorgeous Ali, who has a more vibrant result. Again, there's no permanent colour in Ali's hair. It's all Color Touch. Her formula is on screen down here. What's important to remember is even if you're using the 1.9%, I've said that so much through this video, I apologise, but I do need to make that point. Even if you're using the 1.9%, if you're going much darker or much more vibrant, then you will get more of a demarcation line. The first highlighted result that you saw on Tina, she doesn't really get any grow out at all, but on Ali's result that's much more vibrant and has that mahogany tone, she does get more of a regrowth, albeit a very soft one. There you go. I did very briefly mention room temperature. For me personally, that's important. I'm not even going to look at what the guidelines of, with what Wella tells you to do with Color Touch. I would suspect that they do say it can go underneath heat. In my opinion, for grey blending, you mustn't use any heat, regardless of which developer you have used, the gentle or the intense. Do not apply heat because that will mean that it will go slightly further into the hair. Respect the processing times, respect the developers, all of that stuff, you must take that into account. Applying heat to any colour pushes it further into the hair. It's not wrong. I am just talking about a process and a result that is called grey blending. So heating something up will give you more of a demarcation line. And if you're blending grey and want a natural result, you don't want that. Do you colour your hair at home and you would like to get grey blended results? Well, now there is a video here on my channel, which is where I test out Clairol's Natural Instincts. I've already mentioned to you that Clairol is owned by Wella. That's no secret. With 90 years of hair colour formulation behind them, they're really good at what they do. Wella is the #1 pro colour. So there is a video where I test out Natural Instincts. That formula is a great product. That formula is similar to Color Touch. It's not the same because it's formulated to be used at home. So in my opinion, Natural Instincts is a little bit more opaque. So it lays down a bit more colour. A bit more pigment. It doesn't have, I wouldn't suspect, I've tested it because I obviously work with the brand, but I know exactly what Color Touch will do, but I haven't seen a whole fleet of human beings that have Natural Instincts on their hair. But I do know the formula is more opaque, so you will get a slightly stronger demarcation line than Color Touch and the 1.9% developer, the gentle developer. Clairol also, but it is a demi-permanent colour. It does lay down really shiny results. It does blend grey. The results will vary. Then Clairol also have a product called Tone and Gloss, which again is, it's an ammonia-free. All of these products are ammonia-free. Everything I've talked about in this video is ammonia-free. Not that ammonia is bad, but I know a lot of people want a product that's ammonia-free. Clairol make Tone and Gloss, which is similar to Natural Instincts. Again, it blends grey, but it's slightly more opaque. But those are the products, Natural Instincts and Tone and Gloss. Both of those two things come in many different shades. Which one you would use, I don't know, but you would have to make that call yourself. There are many videos on here that will help you to decide. But those are options for you if you do your own hair at home. Another swift tip before we say goodbye, and that is that I would suggest you formulate slightly on the warmer side. Of course, you're using the 1.9% developer because if you use the 4%, that might shift a base. We don't want to shift a base if we're just grey blending, do we? Says it again. I would formulate on the slightly warmer side because that tends to make the result look more natural, and it is a thing with most demi-permanent colours that if the formula is slightly warmer, it will blend the grey better. It's all about how, I'm not going to go into the mega science of it, but it's all about how the pigment is laid down on and slightly in the hair. So there's something for everybody, you see, regardless of what you want to do with your grey hair. If permanent colouring isn't something that your clients are leaning towards now, or if clients are talking about grey blending, then Color Touch is a brilliant option. I've used it for a long time, since the very beginning of my career, and I don't talk about it very much, but now I am. And if you're at home and you do your own hair, then have a look at Natural Instincts and also Tone and Gloss, because they really are brilliant formulas, and I wouldn't share them if I didn't think they were. Have you had grey blending yourself? You're a consumer, or are you a hairdresser that offers it and has always done it and thinks it's a brilliant service? I would love to hear from you. And if you've enjoyed this and found it helpful, you know exactly what to do. There's a ton of more content over on my Instagram, which is not the World of Craig, it's Craig's World of Hair. So you can go and check that out after this. A huge thank you if you've got to the end of the video. You all take lots of care, and I'll see you all in the next one.